right. Welcome to the two. Welcome to the Two Men with Mike's podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Joe,
CJ the Great.
CJ the Gray, and we have with us again our special guest, the D Crane, Darren Crane, and we are here to talk about the Super Bowl, the Who Dey. We're here to talk about it. So,
where did the Who Dey come from? That's what I kind of want to know. Since she's a Cincinnati guy,
we'll have the Cincinnati. I googled it. We'll have the Cincinnati guy.
No. Well, I mean, if you googled it, let us know.
Well, from what I understand,
I just kind of jumped on board, when we started it,
Well, because I was wondering, I was like, it sounds too much. It sounds too much like Who Dat. So I went on, of course, Google, and it was like I think it started in the '80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably so.
And I'm like, it's too much. It's too close to Who Dat, and it was irking my soul a little bit.
I think we started it first because back in the '80s, with New Orleans and their record and the way they looked, and they had bags over their heads before we did. So I don't think they was talking too much Who Dat back then, in the '80s. I think when when Breeze got there and when Peyton got there, that's when they, started that Who Dat Nation and all of that.
That's news to me. I always actually thought the Saints were the first ones. I've never heard this until this year.
I thought they were first too. I don't know. But again, I'll have to
not doubting you.
I could be wrong. I think in the '80s though they wasn't talking about no Who Dat with them bags over their heads. They were too busy, being the Aints. They was being called the Aints.
I'm gonna tell you a real quick story. So when I was in college, I went to Dillard at '89 in New Orleans. Back then, they couldn't give tickets away.
There you go.
That was when the bags they would like raffle off tickets in the dorm, and nobody would want to go. Nobody wanted to go to games. I know I didn't.
So I know they wasn't talking about no Who Dat Nation back then.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I'm gonna show you how I pieced that together because Bobby said nobody wanted to go to the games. They were trying to give out tickets because everybody in the dorms wasn't from there, and they were like, "Man, well, who is that?" Like, it's like you trying to go see how I put that together. Yeah. Great mind. No, that's anybody listening. That's just a bunch of BS, but
But I think we went to the Super Bowl in the late in
'88.
In '88 with
I read that.
Yeah, so I think we started it first with Who Dey. Cause we at least went to the bowl with Boomer Esiason, and them boys. Then with Ken Anderson. Well, Ken Anderson at first we lost to both times with Marino. So I mean not Marino, but Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, that was heartbreaking both times. But I'm a little optimistic. It's still stinging, It still stings. It still hurts. But I'm optimistic, man. I'm holding out hope to see what we do in this upcoming draft, man, in a couple of months.
You need offensive line help. I think they're gonna draft
that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer.
So I mean, I know Eli roasted. I'm about to say roasted. Eli Apple was getting dragged, and he gave up some plays there at the end, and I know there was some miscall. The officiating, some of those calls on both sides are non calls.
That's why I say let's talk about it. But let's talk about Eli Apple first, though. Not getting him, but what was Cooper Kupp? 8 catches for 10 targets. That's 80%.
Last drive,
mean? 11 yards per catch, right?
I was talking, and I can't remember who I told, but I said I'm not going to blame what went on with Eli Apple. I'm not going to blame all of that on Eli Apple. True enough, he's a cornerback. He's in the NFL. But we got to look at who he's playing against first of all.
Mm.
And then if you ask me, the Bengals kind of put him out there like he was doggone Deion Sanders or somebody. No, he's not a lockdown corner. Eli Apple has never been a lockdown corner. Even when he was in college, Eli Apple was the type of defensive back that could jump the down and out passes, jump them quick passes, and get interceptions that way. That's what he made his name on. I just don't think the Bengals played that in the proper way with Eli Apple, especially looking at he's going against the number one wide receiver. Should have been the MVP of the NFL this year,
right?
I believe, and going against the number one wide receiver in the NFL. That number one receiver, number one in touchdowns, number one in yards, and you're gonna entrust Eli Apple to try to lock him down like he's Deion or like he's Darrelle Revis. Come on, man, that's not gonna happen.
No, I did read that. I did read that Eli Apple actually came to the coaching staff and was saying that he wanted to be on Cooper Kupp because he wanted to prove that he wanted the best person on the field, and he was basically going to stop him or contain him because he wanted them to know that he is that guy. Obviously, I guess maybe it might be for contract reasons or whatever, and they kept faith in his word.
You know what? That faith. If I would have been a coach on the Bengals squad that day, that faith in those words would have been out the door, bro, out the window. I would have thrown him out the window. I would say, hey, I got faith in you too, brother, but we're gonna put a safety behind, and we're gonna drop a linebacker, Jefferson Mace, just in case he don't cut toward the sideline, that he cut toward the middle. He would have been triple teamed somewhere, man. Yeah. There's no reason for the number two wide receiver to be down and out. And it seemed like almost the Rams were baiting the Bengals until that drive that they needed. And it seemed like everybody knew, okay, it's Cooper Kupp time. Mm-hmm. Everybody except the Bengals defensive back coaches and the defensive coordinator for the Bengals. Everybody knew that except them. And I couldn't understand that, man. I wouldn't have kept him out there on the island by himself.
That's how I would say. At what point were you to went ahead and put out put a double team or drop the safety? At what point in the game?
Starting going into the fourth quarter, I would have started giving them a look. Because you remember in the first and second quarter, he was 1-on-1 with Kupp.
Yeah.
Kupp caught a touchdown, but he was 1-on-1 against Kupp, and he was doing a pretty good job. But he really wasn't focusing on Kupp because it seemed like, that's why I said it seemed like the Rams was trying to bait, the Bengals and their defensive staff, defensive coordinators and defensive staff, because when the money was on the line, they went to the man that performed for them all year long. They went straight to Kupp. It was like Stafford just had up in his mind, you can put on Kupp whoever you want to put on Kupp. I'm going to throw the ball to Cooper Kupp. And then they had him in such a defensive posture where the Bengals couldn't bring in extra DBs and extra safeties because they kept on they was running the ball in the fourth quarter. That's why I would have started off the fourth quarter with at least a look of, okay, I'm pushing that safety over behind him. I'm keeping Eli on him, whether he go inside or I wouldn't have dropped a linebacker into that position so quickly. I would have kept my linebackers up there just in case what the Rams was doing was still trying to run the ball, which the Rams couldn't run the ball all night.
No, they couldn't.
That's what I was about to say, yeah.
And here's the thing, too, because I thought that the pivotal moment was when OBJ went down, because I was like, the Bengals are going to win this game, because what was happening, they were double teaming Kupp, but OBJ was making them pay. They were killing them because he was catching all that underneath, and he was running those intermediate routes because they were focusing on Kupp. And I'm like, that game would not have been that close had he not gotten hurt. because I was like, they're gonna
It would have
double.
been totally different. I think
They
I do believe it would have been totally different.
oh, they would have won by more than 3 points. But when he went down, I was like, oh man, because somebody
Well,
else, another receiver's gonna have to step up.
I think it would have been totally different in a way where we've seen what they were doing with OBJ. They weren't doubling him, but after a while, the Bengals would have had to double both of those boys and let the chips fall where they may.
Mm-hmm.
They would have had to. It would have been a totally different defensive package on the field. Whereas when OBJ went down, then you didn't have to double Jefferson. Right. You didn't have to double that tight end. And whatever other wideout, no-name wideout the Rams had out there. Our main concern should have been Cooper Kupp and doubling Cooper Kupp. And they did. Right. And they did. Right. But then they couldn't get the package on the field because the Rams kept trying to run the ball in the fourth quarter, which really wasn't materializing and really wasn't producing anything, but they didn't stop running, which made the Bengals say, okay, are they going to try to run the ball at us? Are they going to try to throw the ball? So they didn't get that package on the field that they really needed to have out there. That's why they left Eli Apple out there. And that's why he became the scapegoat on Facebook and Twitter.
Instagram, he's just been getting ate the whole time. He gonna have a bad week.
He became the memes and everything, I really felt bad for him, man, because it would have been a different strategy, man. I was looking at the game and I was like, man, we got to double this guy. How can this man go down and be the focal point of this last drive, with the exception of one pass that went to Jefferson that was incomplete? But then everything else, either Kupp got the ball on that reverse where he picked up the first down, he ran it there, and Stafford just threw it to him. Right. That whole drive. And then he scored the winning touchdown.
Well, see, I think like how you said, when you said it was being baited, I think it at one point, I think the bait came from when they kept trying to run. Yeah. And which I was like, man, why do they keep trying to run when there's nothing there?
Nothing.
And what I think what it did was that's what opened up that the secondary or whatever on the downside. But that's where the bait was, and I was like, and then it kind of clicked. I'm like, oh, you know what? Not only did they trick the Bengals, they tricked me because I was like thinking like, why are you still trying to run when you like negative yards the entire game? Like the game is on the line and you're trying to run. But I get it. And I think that's good coaching, to be honest.
It is. They touted Akers, and they touted the Rams put out there that they had Akers, Sony Michel, and that third back that they had earlier in the year, and all three of them was healthy. They was going to have a three monster attack as far as the running game. The Rams put that out there. So the Bengals was thinking, okay, they got three healthy backs that they're going to try to pound us and run it in the ground on us. So the Bengals didn't have any extras, free safety help, on the field, or extra linebacker, that was dropping back into pass patterns on the field to do something like that. They were specifically had the type of defensive scheme on the field that was trying to stop the run, leaving Eli Apple out there all. He wasn't Neon Dion. He was Leon Sanders. He wasn't Deion Sanders. He was Leon Sanders. He was getting roasted. He was not Deion Sanders, bro. I feel sorry for him too, man. I feel sorry for him too. Hey, he's a good corner, man. He's a good team player. Yeah. He's a good teammate too, man. He did a lot of good things for the Bengals this year at the corner position. Yeah. Had a few interceptions and played good defense throughout the year. Good team defense.
Yeah. His time may come. I mean, just a lesson learned. I mean, it was just a timing of the lesson. Super Bowl time.
Super Bowl time.
Yeah, it's so. I think he'll live and learn, and by next season, he might be a little better, or he might figure it out.
Oh yeah.
I can't say I feel bad for him. because I wasn't going for them Bengals, but I understand. So,
You secretly was rooting for the Bengals because when I know you was because everybody was like, "Dang, the Bengals got them," I felt it, man.
listen, I had to get my man Donalds. I wanted him to get that ring so bad. That was the only reason why I went with them Rams. I needed him to get it, and he came through in the end. He had the sack that actually kept you guys out the drive. Maybe if you would have got the first down or whatever.
Did you see how he got? Did you see Chase was open?
Yes, Chase was what's his name fell down on him.
I didn't see that video. So
wide open.
Ramsey was burnt.
That was probably a touchdown. Burnt. It was a touchdown, probably.
That was the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, he failed. I'm gonna tell you something else about that whole play too. Aaron Donald was offsides.
I saw that.
He was offside. He was lined up past the neutral zone.
He was way past the neutral zone.
He was past the neutral zone, and he was in there. I know them Bengal fans would love hearing this, but it's true. He was lined up.
It was true. It was
true. And he got the sack.
And also on that last play, I'm gonna tell you, on the other side of the field, when Boyd was the slot, and Boyd was held when he made his cut. And Boyd was held in the same spot where the Bengals got that pass interference call down on the goal line on 3rd and 10.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that wasn't really a pass interference by that linebacker, by Hendrickson. Hendrickson came over and slapped the ball down from the tight end that he was trying to throw to over the middle. Mm-hmm. He didn't turn him. He didn't pull him back. He came around him and slapped the ball, and they called pass interference on him. That was 3rd down and 10. But on that last drive, in the same location, basically in the middle of the field, Boyd got held up, and Higgins was held on that opposite side of the field too. And then you seen where Donaldson was in the neutral zone, and Chase was one-on-one with Ramsey. He got past him, and Ramsey grabbed him and couldn't keep a hold of him, and ended up falling down, stumbling. But Donaldson was already offside, so he was in the backfield already.
And Donald, he's a quick guy. He was already, he'd already spent Burrows by that point. Yeah, so he saved him because he was literally laying on the ground out there. The corner was looking up like he really messed up, but then looked back at the line and seen that Burrows had got sacked. We wanted that matchup too. Yeah, because I told y'all. I said Jalen Ramsey is not the Jacksonville Jalen Ramsey. You can say what you want to say, but he's not. He's not. He needs help. And, I'm not saying he ain't a good corner. He ain't still a lockdown corner in some instances, but he's not the Jacksonville Jaguar lockdown corner that he used to be. But when you have a safety, you don't have to be that tough.
But see, he didn't have a safety. He was burnt.
Well, in that instance, he did not have a safety. I will say he didn't at that point. But
now in his defense, that one play where he was it a touchdown where it was offensive pass interference when my man grabbed his face?
Oh, man, ain't no doubt about it. T. Higgins went up and raked him and bought him on passing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, we. You get that was what the start of the third quarter. That was as soon as we came out in the second half.
And I missed that one. Yeah.
Okay, come on, ref. Give him a makeup call, but don't give him a makeup call in the fourth quarter with they driving down
in the red zone.
They already in the red zone, and you give them a fantasy pass interference on 3rd down and 10.
Let's put him on the 1 yard line.
Which put them down on the 1 yard line, the first down at the 1, and then what they do? Stafford tried to sneak it in and couldn't do nothing, didn't go nowhere, and then Cooper Kupp for the touchdown.
Yeah,
come on, man, come on. That was 3rd down and 10. It would have been 4th and 10 at what was they at, like that 17, 16 yard line somewhere in there.
Yeah.
It
would have been just a field goal.
But see, they wouldn't have went for no field goal because they were down by 4. So they would have went for it on 4th down. and they would have came up if he would have threw short. They would have came up short, just like they did against New England when they would try to reach the ball out. The greatest show on turf. Y'all remember that Super Bowl?
Yeah.
They would have came up short again. God, man, that was a heck of a bowl, though, man. It was a heck of a game.
It was. It was probably one of the better games. I know I was on edge. I was standing up in front of the TV watching. So.
Oh God, man. I went all the way up to Ohio, went back home, braved the cold elements, bro.
Oh, you went home to watch it.
I wanted to celebrate, man. I wanted to celebrate with my home, you know. And man, I was watching the first half, man, at my brother's house. And I couldn't take it no more, man. I said, man, I got to get out of here, man. I was just so hyped, you know. And I went back to my hotel room, man. I was standing in front of the TV watching it the whole second half, you know. And when that happened, man, I just fell to my knees and said, man. I turned TV off, climbed into bed, man. I got up at about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, got on the road, came down, got on 75, came back down to Georgia, man.
Wow.
I was crushed, man. I didn't stop getting breakfast. I made some coffee, a cup of coffee in the hotel and in Drury Inn and Suites and hit the road, man. I said, I'm out of this cold weather, man. I tell you, man, it's going to be interesting what the Bengals do with their draft picks, because it's obvious that they need to protect him. He got hurt. He hurt his knee.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was that last play or not, but he did hurt that other knee, but it wasn't as bad. And so they said he's going to be with a little rehab and stuff over the summer. You know, is he going to be ready to go? But it's obvious that the Bengals need offensive line help. That's a no-brainer. And I'm looking at draft picks. I'm looking at free agency. I'm looking at all of that. And the Bengals did go out before the Super Bowl and bought in some extra linemen. But it just seemed like they, you know, it didn't make any difference.
Yeah,
it
just wasn't there. They didn't show up for it.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of money to spend.
They got a lot of cap money.
I think it's like 48-something million. 48.6 million. I think it's like fourth in the league. So they got some money to spend. They got some money to spend in free agency, or whether they want to spend it, you know, in as far as getting, you know, they're willing and dealing with drafts, man, and everything. They can give money. They can try to obtain more draft picks, man. Give money to teams. You know, these backroom deals they do during the draft time, man, is outrageous, man. Mm-hmm.
But I want to see the Bengals do more than just draft offensive linemen. That's an obvious thing. Right. They got to get offensive linemen. I would like to see Bengals do a little bit of both through the draft and through free agency, get offensive linemen. But you still, some of these rounds, man, some of these rounds in the draft, you still got to get some. You got to shore up the defense, the backside of that defense, man. You got to shore it up even more. You got to get you some more free safeties. The Bengals got good linebackers. They got linebackers that's coming back that was injured, that's going to be back next year, that can rush the passer. They got a good down lineman that can stuff the run with Reader and them boys. It's just a point of getting some. Man, we need somebody like a Pollard, man, from Dallas. You know, they can just disrupt some stuff, man. Or you know, somebody like that, man. I don't want to say an Aaron Donald, you know, because we got good down linemen that can push the pocket back, but they can also stuff the run. But somebody that can come off the end, man, and just tear somebody up like your boy in Pittsburgh.
Watt?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we need somebody like that.
You know, it's not too many guys in the league, though, that, you know, those in rushes like that. You don't find too many of them. That's the thing. So usually when somebody get one, they're going to hold on them for dear life. You know, Green Bay had, what's his name? Clay Matthews at one point.
Yeah.
They held him until he couldn't even walk no more, and then they finally traded him out. But those in rushes, man, they just come not a dime a dozen. They just come once in a blue moon.
Well, so, you know what you need to do when you want players like that, when you want players that can come off the end, linebackers that can go from one side of the field to the other. I hate to say it, but if you gonna draft some, you better look in the SEC. You better look at these SEC teams.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Georgia, Alabama, Florida, LSU, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas Tech. You better look at these SEC teams.
State, State had a good one come out not too long ago.
Yeah, you better look at these SEC teams on the defensive side of the ball, because these boys come from down here in the South. They come down there in Florida where they grow them, like sugar cane. They go.
Right.
Yeah, man. And them boys don't do nothing. Them boys don't do nothing but run in the sun. Big black greasy jokers. That can go from one side of the field to the other. Man, got some stuff going on in their life, man. That give them that drive and that inspiration to be somebody great, man.
Yeah.
You see that and you hear that a lot, man. With the brothers that come into the NFL. But man, we got to get somebody like, if they want defensive players, there's going to be some dogs. You better go to the SEC.
You're going to get them out the SEC?
You got to get them out the SEC, because that's where they at. That's where they at.
Right.
I can't. Ohio State got good down linemen. Ohio State got
You guys produce a couple of quarterbacks and running backs usually.
Ohio State is going to continue to be wide receiver, baby. We're going to produce wide receivers.
Right. You guys a little bit more offensive orientated.
Yeah. And then we'll give you the Bosa's. We give you my man Chase Young in Washington.
Yeah.
We'll give you some boys on the defensive side of the ball, but if you really want them nasty dogs, man, you got to go to the SEC. Got to go to the SEC. And that's what the Bengals need to look at, man. They need to get some dogs on that defense, some extra dogs that's going to come in there and be some disruptors, some defensive backs and corners that's going to hit you. And you can find some not only in the SEC, but you know what? I'm going to see how many players come out of these HBCU schools.
Well, right. They're starting to go out there. I'm kind of glad you said that, because a lot of them are starting to transfer there. And there are some great ones going now, right about now, which is nice to see. Really good to see. I mean, you put the eyes on these HBCUs. It'll be interesting, but I think it's going to take time to develop that whole situation, that whole package deal, because it's going to take more than this one 5-star recruit or whatever to go to Jackson State University. You got to get a couple more to hit,
It's going to take some more. It's going to take some more brothers that do what Deion did.
Yeah.
Do what Deion is doing.
Right.
Taking his talents and his coaching skills, his knowledge of the game, his incitement, and then his clout. Deion walking his clout just with being Neon Deion. And he passed up on Florida State. Florida State actually blew it, and they passed up on him. And he took his talents down there to Jackson State. And it got to be more brothers that want to go that route, man. Want to build these HBCU schools up, put their clout in them, and then talk to these young brothers and these 5-star players, these 5-star recruits, and say, hey, come on, let's help me build something great. Yeah. And you'll be great. Yeah. You'll get my knowledge.
I think it'll take a lot of the high profile type brothers to go there. Like say for I'm just saying what Shannon Sharp went to Grambling or something.
Exactly.
The people he would bring.
In front of his mouth.
Yeah. Let him go to Grambling and coach on that sideline. Imagine what you would bring to that program. It's a few of them out there that could bring people to come, to follow them along,
Yeah, that can talk to these brothers, man, and tell them, hey, let's do something great here. Let's establish something great. That's what Deion trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, he's doing a good job. I give it to him. He's doing a good job. Like I said, he opened up a lot of people's eyes. Some of these younger kids, even the ones that don't even go to Jackson State. Like I can't think his name. That one that he just committed to to the HBCU, and he was a 5-star.
He's not going to Jackson State?
It was one kid, if I'm not mistaken, I just read it probably a couple of weeks ago, and he committed to somewhere, man.
You know he got that.
I'm drinking tequila and margarita, so I might be.
I feel you. I feel you. You know he got that. He got that one brother to come to Jackson State. That dual threat on offense and defense like him.
Okay.
Which got the ball rolling, but you know, it's going to be a very interesting NFL season. I want to see what come out of the draft with HBCU schools, man.
So on your Bengals, what do you think about your cornerback, the African Awazu? What's his name? I can't say his name.
He's young. He's young. He's young. He got some growing to do. But okay. You know what? He's a young dog. He's a young dog, and he like to hit, which is what you want cornerback. You don't only want a cornerback that's trying to be finesse and trying to block down passes or catch interceptions. And once in a while, you got to have a corner that come up and lay some shoulder pad and lay some leather on some folk.
Yeah. Instead of holding legs and stuff.
Yeah. He like to do that. And I think he's a diamond in the rough, man. He's a diamond in the rough.
As I was actually, you know, I think he's worth building around. Like I said, building around in that defense, you know, being that core defense with the Bengals.
Exactly. And he's smart.
Exactly.
Well, let me ask you this. How soon do you think the Bengals will get – how long do you think it'll take them to get back to the Super Bowl?
Next year, baby.
Next year.
Last time they was there was in '88, right? How many years is that?
It's been a long time,
98.
Man. I don't know.
That was like 20-something years, 30 years?
All 30 more years. I don't know if the Bengals can make it back next year. It would be great to see them. Mm-hmm. They're going to compete. I can tell you this. I believe the Bengals, with offensive line help, and with some more dogs, like I said, in the defensive backfield, and safeties and corners, and maybe some linebackers that can go sideline to sideline. Kind of like what the Falcons had when they was on their way to the Super Bowl. They had them boys that can go from sideline to sideline with what was the defensive coordinator? He Dallas's defensive coordinator now.
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn type players. Quinn type players. If the Bengals can do that, the Bengals have a good chance to start dominating the AFC division that we in.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh is a long way away right now.
They don't have a quarterback. They don't know who they're going to get.
Pittsburgh don't have a quarterback, but they also don't have an offensive line.
No, and then Cleveland. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Baker Mayfield, but
you have no idea what's going to happen with him.
He's no Joe Burrow.
No, not in any way, shape, or form. And then they don't really have a wide receiver core up in Cleveland like they want.
Right.
You know, I mean, Landry is good, and the other brother that they got there.
Landry's kind of aging too, though.
But that's what I was going to say. Landry is getting up in age.
Yeah.
You know, but he's still a dog that can go over the middle and catch you the tough pass, get you them 4 yards for a first down like Julian Edelman type passes. Yeah. You know, he can do that for you, but he ain't stretching no defense.
Right. Okay.
Now the Browns defense, if they can get it together on their defensive side of the ball, they can be some dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
And they can play any team tough, but they just don't have the offensive firepower to match up with a team that's going to play them tough. So I think the Bengals, as far as the Ravens are concerned, the Ravens, they have a lot of weapons coming back next year.
Right.
But they still need a big time wide receiver.
I was about to say that the Ravens, and I love the Ravens. That's probably my second team, but they need to come out of that dang on RPO offensive scheme they have. And they're killing their quarterback, which kills me. They need to let him be able to sit back in that pocket, see the field, see the defenses, and throw. But they keep him in that RPO pretty much 80-90% of the game, and it's just and I hate to see it.
You know why? Because he like Michael Vick. He don't like reading film. He don't like sitting in the film room. He don't like studying. He don't like studying defenses.
But that's what I'm saying. That they need to sit him down, and this is what you're here for. You're not a running back / like you're not Cordell Stewart or something. You are. Plus, he's very light. Very light.
Well, he can be, but he needs to be versatile enough to do both.
Yeah.
which he's not capable of doing. You know, you can put some defensive schemes on him, and it'll mix him up, and it'll have him looking for where the rush is coming from instead of looking downfield.
Instead of going downfield with the eyes.
And you know, a lot. I'm gonna tell you this much, and I don't know if you're gonna agree with me or not, but I don't see Kansas City being the dominant team that they were when they was on their way.
I agree with you.
Right.
To the Super Bowls, because if you let Mahomes, if you keep Mahomes in the pocket, and stay downfield with them boys, Kittle and the Cheetah,
right,
and make Mahomes have to think where he's gonna throw the ball.
Yeah,
the Bengals showed Mahomes ain't no real thinker when he back there in the pocket, as far as going through your progressions and things of that nature. Mahomes really ain't no thinker. He'd rather take off running. He got it in him.
I said that last year. About him. I said he's not a thinker. He's not a sit in the pocket thinker. And on top of that, once he's when he gets comfortable enough to get out of the pocket, he's a lot of the times he's only looking for the spectacular play.
Yeah, he is.
Or he is. Technically, I'm gonna look good when I do this one. When I make this pass or run on the, he's an actual passer on the run. If he has to sit there in that pocket, his game's over for him. Game is over.
Game is over for him. Mm-hmm. That's why I think the Bengals have a good shot of returning as the division champions, winning that division. And of course, with going to the Super Bowl, your schedule is going to change. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna have the big dogs on your schedule this year. You're not gonna have the Jets, and which we lost to, and Bengals never should have lost to. Mm-hmm. But you're not gonna have teams like that on your schedule. We already know 2 games against the Steelers, 2 games against the Browns, 2 games against the Ravens. That's 6 games right there. I think we got San Francisco again. I think we got the Cowboys on our schedule. Mm-hmm. We ain't got no pushover schedule as far as cream puffs or lower, teams that was kind of low on the totem pole for next season. So the Bengals gonna have to play good, sound football all year.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well,
before Bobby get on, I know because Bobby about to shut it down real quick, but I got to give my let me give my stars of the Super Bowl real quick on both sides both sides. There's a couple, I got a couple of them for both teams. So I'm gonna run with 3 of them. Obviously, Cooper Kupp, so we just gonna leave him out of there, right? And Stafford. But I'm gonna say the unsung heroes. So Aaron Donald, 4 tackles, 3 quarterback hits, 2 sacks. Von Miller, which I don't think a lot of people even noticed what he was doing, but he had 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, and that 1 pass deflection, big time pass deflection, big time.
Yeah, that was big time.
Yeah,
that was big time.
And then on them Bengals side over there, oh god, not it. Them Bengals, man, my man Owazu, 5 tackles and 1 interception.
Yeah,
great. Higgins, 4 receptions for 100 yards on 2 touchdowns. Which, I guess everybody knows about that. And, of course, my man Ball. But I'm going to tell you another. That Mixon, 72 rushing yards and 6 yards passing with a touchdown. So, them my stars on both sides of the ball for the Super Bowl.
I think the Bengals never should have went away from their running game with Mixon. Mm-hmm. He would have been the difference. When the Bengals had a minute and something left on the clock, minute and 20-something seconds left on the clock, and the first 2 plays get you down to the 40-something yard line, close to the 50-yard line, and you still got 50 minutes, 50-something seconds. You still got 50-something seconds left on the clock. But then, and then you start trying to hit them with the kill joint,
Yeah.
I think if the Bengals would have stayed within themselves, and you knew the rush was coming. You knew after the Bengals got those 2 plays downfield to Chase on the first one and then to Boyd on the second one and was down at like the 48-yard line, you knew the rush was about to come. That's why Aaron Donald was off sides in the neutral zone. But I digress. But
he on now.
You knew the rush was coming. You knew the rush was coming. I think a dump pass to Nixon out there on the flat would have crushed the Rams. It would have crushed the Rams. And one last thing, it seemed like Zach Taylor forgot that he had a kicker that was 15 for 15 in the playoffs. 15 for 15, bro.
Exactly.
He didn't miss nothing. And I think he hit like about 4 or 5 from 50 yards and beyond. And you didn't utilize him. If you would have gave a dump pass to Mixon on that last drive, that would have got us over the 50-yard line, at least down to about the 40-yard line. You were in his range, baby. We could have at least went for the touchdown or at least had a couple of seconds with 2 timeouts still.
Right.
We could at least went for the juggler and won the game or kicked the field goal and went into overtime.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if we would have got Money Mac on the field, it would have been over.
Right.
And we would have went in overtime. My stars, of course, on the Super Bowl champs, without a doubt, Cup. Without a doubt, Donald's. But you know what? I'm gonna give a star to the Joker that wasn't even in the NFL. Came out, Eric Weddle. Came out and had a heck of a game.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Had a heck of a game.
Yeah.
Had some big time hits too.
Yeah.
Eric Weddle was big on that defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. And
He
it
was
is
big on that defensive side of the ball.
and about to retire again. And I'm gonna just give you mine real quick, and we'll close out. I'm just gonna say Cooper Kupp. Kind of reminds me of the greatest wide receiver over the age of 50 to play flag football.
Oh,
but
man.
you know, that's a different story. But we got to get out of here. It was a great Super Bowl.
He gave one.
Yeah, I gave one.
It's all right.
But Darren, again, man, we want to thank you for joining us and talking
brother,
about the
man.
Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, we appreciate
And,
it.
you know,
I enjoyed y'all.
yeah, and all you guys out there watching, listen, please hit us up, 2menwithmics@gmail.com, and also Glass Tip Chronicles on YouTube. Hit us up.
Glass Tip Chronicles is not on. Oh, yeah, it is. I'm not bad. It is.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Go to the Spotify because that Spotify is popping
Yeah,
right
okay,
now.
go to
Glass Tip Chronicles on Spotify.
Spotify. Okay, go to Spotify. But yeah, but that's our time for tonight. That's gonna do it. You know the social medias by now. If you don't, I don't know what to do with you. But yeah, we want to thank you for coming out watching. And until next time, you guys be safe and keep watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And with some friends, the Usher, CJ, and Bobby and Darren had to do it again. Hey,
Wow.
all right,
Hey.
yeah. So we're out.
Hey, baby.